Hello everybody, welcome to Bitcoin Daily, 9 a.m. Central European time on the dollar. We do this show every Monday to Friday because we gotta know what's happening in Bitcoin, altcoins and everything else. Was it a scam dump? Was it not a scam dump? We gotta check that out. Let me just adjust this a little bit while I'm looking at it. There we go. So in today's show, Bitcoin Daily, we're gonna look at what's happening in Bitcoin. How far down are we gonna go? What's gonna happen next? Right now we broke below 69k. We go to the daily time frame up here. Everything looks fine and nice and dandy. So we're gonna check that out. We're also gonna look at Bitcoin dominant chart because it is going down. We're gonna check out what's happening with Ethereum and Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And the last thing we're gonna check out is Craig Wright, because right now Craig Wright is no more Satoshi Nakamoto. So that's the big news from yesterday, so we're gonna check that out as well. And maybe some NFTs. Talk about NFTs, maybe. How's everybody doing in the chat? Before we start, we gotta go through the chat. Now there are not a lot of people up in here because everything is down, so people don't care. Sakal, how you doing, man? How's everybody doing? Doing good, man. Gort is bearish. I mean, you are always bearish, man. What's up, Decent Planet? That's the chat. That's the chat today. As you can see, nobody cares. Morning, bro. All good. Summit is in the chat. That's nice. You guys, you gotta understand. Even when Bitcoin goes down, you gotta be there. You gotta know what's happening, right? Because if you only are here when stuff pumps, you're gonna miss the good times. The good times when stuff actually goes down and you can actually buy stuff. Because you can't buy when stuff goes towards the upside. It's really, really hard. You have to FOMO in. You have to buy at wrong times. You have to go to the pain period. You cannot buy when stuff goes towards the upside. You can buy when stuff goes down. But when stuff goes down, people don't care. But you should care, because when stuff goes down, those are the dips. Those are the buying opportunities and so forth, so forth. So, there is that. The Great Indian Passport. What's up, man? Good morning. Are we done with the red stuff? I don't know, man. We're gonna check it out. We are here, man. We here. It's Friday though, so everybody's tired. But it's only Friday. Like, today it is, the stuff. Music video morning. How you doing, man? We'll be short-term bullish at 65k. Well, you are more bullish than Mladen. I'll tell you that. Like, he thinks like 58k. Ape, yeah, Ape is not performing that well, but it is down like only 5%. Like there is definitely worse coins than that. Dips up for buying, 12k incoming. Okay, guys, so we're gonna start talking about a little bit what's happening up here, and I'm also gonna explain to you a little bit about this rising wedge, how this actually plays out, the pattern, the autonomy of a pattern of a rising wedge, how this actually plays out. And what you're gonna see, there has already been, a couple of signs that this is gonna break towards the downside. That's why we had, not so long ago over here, on our live stream up here, Bitcoin looks sketchy. This was right before it actually dumped towards the downside, and then came Bitcoin scam dump, and right now was it a scam dump? But Bitcoin looks sketchy because it was looking sketchy, and there has already been signs that it's gonna pull towards the downside. Unfortunately, we are a little bit more bullish than we should have been. I thought that this was actually gonna go towards the upside up here before going towards the downside, maybe a little bit to 80k or anything like that before it goes towards the downside. But it looks like right now that we are having this move towards downside first before we actually go towards the upside again, towards some kind of 85k or something like that, right? Over here you can see up here this move towards the upside eventually. So there is that. So it did break towards the downside. So let's talk a little bit first about how this actually looks like, and let's find a clean chart. Yeah, let's do this chart up here. We're gonna go to small time frames over here. So what's been happening up here is that we have been going through this rising wedge towards the upside, and rising wedge went something like this over here, and it went from what I can draw, at least what I like to draw up here, it looks something like this. You can see up here it came down to bottom of wedge, broke that, retested, right back down again, it broke through the falling wedge towards the downside. But there has been on a smaller time frames over here very good indications that this is gonna break towards the downside, especially these two mountains that I call. Now the problem with these two mountains, they are coming at the very, very top inside the rising wedge towards the upside, and they are breaking towards the downside. Now when it comes to the rising wedges, Rising wedges are a bearish pattern that often breaks towards the downside. A rising wedge that breaks towards the upside does happen a lot of times during the bull markets, but you know, usually tends to actually be a bearish pattern. Now this is a bearish pattern, and oftentimes you'll see these things break towards the upside. This time broke towards the downside, but there has been a very good indication up here that it is gonna break, because we got these two mountains. Now why are these two mountains over here important? And you'll see here on the daily time frame, sorry, on an hourly time frame over here, then once we actually did this move up here above the resistance levels over here towards the upside, we had this very nice curvature up here. Now this curvature up here is very important because it shows that, you know, there is a lot of buying towards the upside, but since there is a, you know, huge amount of selling over here, they managed to slowly turn the curve towards the downside and dump it over here. Now we managed to climb back above that, and we came into this, you know, rising triangle towards the upside up here, and we are expecting this maybe to break towards the upside, but it kind of failed that move towards the upside over here. It kind of failed that move towards the upside up here, and it dropped down. It dropped down, you know, outside of the wedge, tried to get back in and right back outside again. But this is the very first part over here that actually was telling us that, you know, something is wrong with the chart, and it is looking a little bit bearish, because these curvatures up here indicate a lot of selling, right? So when you go towards upside, it goes something like this. Now when there is a lot of buying, when there's a lot of buying, the chart goes something like this towards upside. But when there is a lot of selling as well, the chart will go slowly curve towards the other side and do this move up here. So these curvatures are actually very bearish. So you can actually have, you know, rounded bottoms, and you can have rounded tops. Rounded bottoms indicate there is a lot of buying down here, while there is at the same time a lot of selling. And over here it indicates there is a lot of selling while at the same time there is a lot of buying, but the sellers actually prevailed and managed to push the price down. And when it came up here towards upside again, we came inside this triangle up here, tried to break towards the upside up here, towards the upside, which actually failed, and we fell out of the rising wedge. So we already see some kind of sketchy stuff going on inside the pattern. We already knew that, you know, this might actually break towards the downside. It did break towards the downside, and so, you know, right now the question is how far down. Now before we move on, you know, to talk about some kind of targets and some kind of levels where we actually might fall towards the downside, it is important to know that, you know, these rising wedges have, you know, a couple of very interesting levels that are very important. First of all, as soon as you fall out, there will be this very first level of support. Right now we are actually holding that. The second level of support is down here, over here, and then the last one is all the way down at the bottom of the wedge. So you can see up here, all of these three are actually between 63 and 51 level. This blue box down here at the bottom, that's the important. So these wedges actually have, you know, 2-3 major level of support, because when they go towards the upside, they create these, you know, pivot points, and these pivot points tell us right now where the supports are, right? And oftentimes when the price goes towards downside, they hit one of these support levels and bounces off of these support levels towards the upside. Oftentimes you will see people saying that, you know, rising wedges go all the way down to the bottom. That is the case in a bearish scenario. So any kind of bearish scenario, the price will look very weak and go to the bottom of the chart before it actually starts bouncing again. Now it is important to know that, you know, in bullish charts and in bullish patterns, these supports tend to hold very nicely. So any kind of support that you actually have, you can actually bounce from that, and you will bounce a lot sooner than you actually get all the way down to the bottom of where the rising wedge actually started. Now we can argue whether this rising wedge actually started all the way down here. So are we gonna go back down to 40k levels or not? That kind of depends, you know, because you can technically say that, you know, this rising wedge started all the way down at the bottom, but we are looking at just this last part up here at the top, and right now we are saying that, you know, this rising wedge is only this part over here at the top. So that means that bottom is right now something like 61k, or give or take. So, you know, that would be the most bearish scenario right now on the chart. Also right now you'll see that Bitcoin is down 4.22%. It is holding kind of support, but it's also kind of breaking it. So, you know, there is a good chance to actually go to these kind of lower levels. Mladen is in the chat. How you doing, man? Why so early? It's not early, it's 9 AM on the dollar. Chappies to the moon. But Mladen thinks we're gonna go down to 58k level. Now this is important down here because it is below this last week down here at the bottom. where is it, 58 up here, you know, give or take. This is exactly 58. Now, could we go towards downside all the way down to 58? There is also a good reason for why we should do that. There are actually two reasons for that. The first reason is up here is because from the very top up here towards the you know, 58 level, it is actually 20% towards downside. A little bit up here, you know, still inside 58. You can get, you know, exactly 58.9. That's exactly 20% dump towards downside. If you remember, all the way through the top, we had only had 20% dumps. Ever since we started this move towards the upside, this is 22% dump. This over here is 20% dump. This over here is 21% dump. Then we had this dump over here that was, you know, 21% up. So we have 4 20% dumps right now. And right now, you know, the big question is, are we gonna get another one of these 20% dumps towards downside? Which actually very, very, you know, logical way of thinking. But, you know, we don't know just quite yet right now. That said, two reasons to go down to 58. Number one, you know, Mladen says that. Number two is 20% towards downside over here. And the third reason, I never said we are going to. No, don't pull back, man. I saw you right in the chat 58k. I saw you right in the chat 58k. Don't pull back. We know you bear. We know you bear. Where is that, you know, bear with a mask? Crypto meme. I don't know. I don't know what it is. You are good at twisting this. Yeah, man, I've been married for like 20 years soon, so I know my stuff. So let's move on. And so there is two reasons. Without Mladen, I mean, with Mladen there is 3 reasons. Without Mladen there is 2 reasons. The first reason is 20%. The second reason actually why we should go down towards downside, let's just clean the lines, is because we got a liquidity box down here. Now liquidity goes below the last week and below, you know, top of these weeks up here. Now the reason this is over here is a liquidity box is because there has been almost no trading up here. It's just actually blew towards upside. So if you remember the gaps, in you know, CME, on CME futures, on stocks and stuff like that, you get these gaps that price actually moves very, very fast above or below. Now over here there's a lot of, you know, there's been definitely trading going on, but there are no supports up here. So we call this box up here liquidity box. Oftentimes when you get into the box, you break literally every single level of support and you get back into that. Now these liquidity boxes are actually very good for buying, because once you get into this liquidity box over here, you can actually get a lot of Bitcoin, especially if the market is very liquidity empty. So going down here below, you know, into the box that's you know 58k level and even lower towards downside, all the way to 53k level, this liquidity box where, you know, the big money can actually get you know, some decent amount of Bitcoin, right? So how are we gonna do the pullback down to, you know, into this box up here? You know, it depends, but you know, it is nice to know that, you know, below everything down here, that's 20% pullback, that's liquidity box. We can definitely get into the box over here towards downside. I do not want to be bearish or anything like that, but you know, it is a probability that we are looking for. So like we said over here, we are right now, you know, trying to hold this level of support. It looks like it's breaking, does not look actually that strong. Next levels are down here at 53 and 63, 62 and 61, give or take. There is a box over here. There is also a magical, very, very nice box over here towards downside. There's a very good chance to actually go up here and then do the wick down and then continue towards upside, something like that, into the box. We're gonna see how this actually plays out. But like we said over here, we get a rising wedge on our channel right now, and right now we are pulling back. If you go to the small time frames over here, what you're gonna see up here is that maybe, just maybe, there is a very good chance that we are creating what's called again this expanding musical instrument towards the downside over here. Now this is actually a very, very steep one, so I don't think that's that. So it might be something like this over here, expanding musical instrument. So this might actually go again down into this low level. So we might do something like this and then get into the 60 to 63 levels. That I actually think is very probable right now. 61 to 63k levels over here towards downside, and then move outside of this expanding musical instrument over here towards the upside. Because you know, when it comes to small time frame patterns up here, the only thing I can actually find is actually this, you know, expanding musical instrument towards downside. And yeah, you know, if we move a little bit longer over here to a sideways up here, we can actually drop down into the blue box at 61, 62, 63k levels. So what is the scam dump? Well, technically it is a scam dump. Let me explain to you why it's a scam dump. Oftentimes when Bitcoin was going towards downside in the bear market or any kind of sideways motion, you know, Bitcoin would dump down, you know, 2-3%, while everything will be down, you know, 10%. And it's actually very bad because stuff just continues dumping. So you know, it is nuts. But you know, the thing that I call a scam dump is when Bitcoin goes down but altcoins goes down less, right? So Bitcoin goes down 4%, but Bitcoin goes down 4%, but altcoins do, you know, 2-3% towards upside. You know, yes, it's going down, yes, it's pulling back, but it's kind of, you know, just a way to get you out of your position, just a way to get you to sell, just a way to, you know, take your money, just a way to, you know, move money from paper hands to diamond hands, to move money from the, you know, dump money to smart money, and so forth. But what you can see here on the daily time frame, yesterday we did have, you know, loss in dominance on chart, and Bitcoin was down like 2-3%. So that means that altcoins did actually less dump than Bitcoin. But right now you'll see over here that, you know, even though Bitcoin is down by 4.5%, the dominance over here is still going towards downside. That means that altcoins are not actually losing that much, you know, overall, right? So in a greater scheme of things, altcoins are actually playing out a lot better than Bitcoin, right? So we like that. Also, that this might actually indicate that we are just about to start the altcoin season very soon after this dump. So because right now, if it continues pulling back while Bitcoin is dumping, and altcoins, you know, outperform, you know, better or perform better than Bitcoin on the dump, that means that, you know, this is might actually continue down. So even when Bitcoin starts pumping towards upside, you know, even when Bitcoin starts pumping towards upside, altcoins might pump even more, which we actually think that's the case, and this might actually push it outside of this blue box, outside of this channel towards downside, where we are expecting having altcoin season, right? And the altcoin season is the good kind of altcoin season, because this, you know, at the ending of the bull market altcoin season, where we, you know, everything just goes like really crazy. So, you know, it might be actually very good. We are not always very bearish when stuff goes down. We are bearish when we are in bear market or some kind of sideways motion, because that can actually be very terrifying, and you know, you never know where the price is gonna hit support. But when you're up from 15k all the way up to, you know, 73k, and then you're having these pullbacks towards downside, this is actually very good. Like I'm trying to tell you guys, this is actually very good, because the reason it's actually very good, because you know, altcoins have time to, you know, do the catch up. So over here, I did notice that there is, you know, already people taking profits on this above 70k. So the smart money is already taking profits. You can understand another thing up here. When it comes to the smart money, or, you know, the big players in the market, right? They will be dollar cost averaging down here, right? They will dollar cost averaging down here, but they will not be selling top. They will have some kind of box, and they will dollar cost average towards the upside, right? Because they need a lot of liquidity to sell. So they slowly start selling above 70k up here towards upside, and they increase the selling more and more, right? That's why you have these, you know, these rounded tops. That's why you have these, you know, patterns at the top. That's why you have a distribution box on top, because they selling into the strength, right? So when price starts going towards upside, they start selling into the strength, and when price is going down, they are buying into the weakness, right? So they are buying into the fear, and they are selling into the euphoria towards upside. That's why we have it. But I think right now that we are above, you know, 69k level, 70k level, the selling has already started. People who are, you know, down here, you know, bought down here, they are, and you know, they are selling the tops. But it's just the very first start of this move, you know, of this move there, where we hit some kind of top and go towards upside. Now, how big the box is gonna be, you know, it kind of depends. You know, it can go something like this and go towards downside. You know, it doesn't have to be over here and right down. But the selling has already started, because, you know, the money that needs to be sold, you know, it goes from the very bottoms of these guys to the very top of these guys, right? And they're selling, they don't sell, you know, everything I mean, they're not like you and me. We had like $1,000 and like press, you know, market selling, the price doesn't even move. Not only that, maybe even goes towards upside because more people are buying. But, you know, these guys got, you know, billions and billions of Bitcoin, and, you know, they need time to, you know, offload some of that money, and they are starting selling into the strength, and that's above 70K up here towards upside. So it is not unusual right now that we are seeing sign of weakness, because all the way up here towards the top, we did not actually see sign of weakness when it comes to Bitcoin. It was actually looking very, very good. It's only this last part where we are having this, you know, rising wedge up here that we have sensing the weakness up here. Even through, you know, through our entire part up here, this pullback up here, like the pullbacks are nice, but it's not sign of weakness. The only sign of weakness that's coming right now is this over here, and we are seeing this on the very, very small time frames. So these 1 hourly time frames are just telling us right now that you know, the selling has already kind of started. There has been a lot of selling, but these are small time frames. When you see some kind of around the top on a weekly time frame or daily or time frame, something like that, that might be a problem. But you know, looking at these stops over here, rising wedge on the 1 hourly time frame, like it's just a pullback. It's just a pullback. So it is good for altcoins. It is nice that altcoins are pulling back. So, you know, there might be very nice buying opportunities. And we talked about Bitcoin dominance. The fact that Bitcoin dominance going towards downside is very, very good. We want this to eventually break towards downside, because it will break towards downside and go down all the way down to something like, you know, 30-40K levels again, maybe even lower than that. We don't really know how low this time is gonna go, but it's gonna go definitely a very good you know, chunk towards downside. And this move towards downside, when Bitcoin goes towards downside and altcoin, sorry, when Bitcoin goes towards upside and dominance goes towards downside, this is what we call the, you know, major alt season. Just like over here, Bitcoin was actually going towards upside while dominance was actually breaking towards downside. This is the altcoin season, because altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin on a big scale, like everything just, you know, they just start pumping like crazy, like 50-100% every single coin and stuff like that. Those are good times, guys, and those are coming. It's going very, very close to that, and it's coming very, very close. So it is very, very nice. That said, Ethereum right now, it's also pulling back. Right now Ethereum is down 3.7%, while Bitcoin is down minus 4.6%. Now if you go to the ETH BTC chart over here, you will see that we are still in the goddamn wedge. We are still holding the wedge. We are still pulling back up here. We're still waiting for this move towards upside, but I believe that this move towards upside up here outside this falling wedge will eventually come when Bitcoin actually loses the dominance battle and starts dropping towards the outside. Now, could we be very, very close to that, where Bitcoin right now does this, you know, dip and altcoins outperform that? It might be the case, but it is just kind of waiting. Like over here, you can see the curvature up here. You can see the curvature. This is actually a channel up here that actually goes towards downside over here. I'll just do like this. Okay, this is actually a channel that goes towards downside over here. It is very, very nice curvature up here, pulling back. It is very close to breaking towards upside, guys. I am convinced. So even Ethereum is gonna outperform Bitcoin very, very soon. The last thing that we can talk when it comes to the charts is XRP pulling back big time on the weekly time frame, daily time frame pulling back, but it's still holding the support down here at the bottom. There are actually two levels of support over here, this one and this one up here for you, you know, for you XRP guys. So there is that. So, you know, it's still okay. Technically, this might even look like some kind of expanding musical instrument up here towards the upside of channel, but it is pulling back. But it is pulling back like everything else. We should have known that, you know, it's gonna pull back once XRP pumped. You know, when XRP pumps, it's never a good thing, guys. It's never a good thing when XRP pumps. Unfortunately, it hasn't broken anything, so it's still inside this bottom channel and stuff like that. And of course, chappies, you know, are doing well, you know, and it's continuing, you know, rise towards upside. So we don't really care about, you know, what's happening in Bitcoin when chappy is doing these kind of moves. So there is that. And the last thing, guys, I don't know, the big news from yesterday is that Craig Wright is not the creator of Bitcoin, and he's not Satoshi Nakamoto. Judge rules. I don't know, you know, for you guys that have been here for a while around, Craig S. Wright is the creator of Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, BSV. He's also the guy who claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto, who created Bitcoin and stuff like that, right? So not only did he do that, he went to the, you know, to court to prove that he is Satoshi Nakamoto, right? So that said, right now we just had, you know, case closed yesterday, and BitMEX Research posted they are following the case. The judge said, "I will prepare fairly long judgment. I have reached the conclusion the evidence is overwhelming. Chris S. Wright is not the author of the white paper. Chris S. Wright is not Satoshi. Chris S. Wright is not the creator of Bitcoin. Chris S. Wright did not author the Bitcoin software." And this is the guy, Dr. Chris S. Wright, eternal student and researcher, creator of Bitcoin. But right now we can have this, you know, community notes. Wright is not the author of Bitcoin pair. Wright is not the person who adopted and operated under pseudonym. Wright is not the person who created Bitcoin system. But, you know, creator of Bitcoin is not, guys. These guys, we know for a long time that this guy is a fraud, is a scammer. He's definitely very, very smart. He knows a lot about things. Unfortunately, he is a pathological liar. And when he took Bitcoin, forked it into Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, because, you know, he doesn't, you know, have any Bitcoin. He became very, very rich because, you know, he holds large amounts of Bitcoin, and then he forged, you know, he forks it, and he gets even more of that. So he forked Bitcoin into Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, and this guy is a pathological liar. So he was lying about being, a creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto. But if you've been following the guy, you know, even before he made Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, there has been news about, you know, the scams, the lies that he's been posting. So if you're going to research the guy, you will find a lot of actually evidence that the guy is, you know, basically a pathological liar. You know, so it is good to be over and done with that. We can all say that, you know, Craig S. Wright is not Satoshi Nakamoto, because he's been just in everybody's ass, you know, since that time. So, you know, we're not gonna talk too much about that, but, you know, there is that. Now, before you go and watch, you know, Ivan on Tech, because he does have a live stream at the same time as me, but, you know, I do appreciate that you guys came to my chat, you know, instead. Yeah, we forgot to talk how long, yeah, but it is, you know, 58k, it could go to 58k, we said that, but most likely up here, if it does go towards downside, it's like something like, you know, 61 to 63k. Where is the lines? Did we remove the lines? Yeah, up here, 61 to 63k, that's the most likely right now, if it continues going towards downside. But what I'm looking for actually is this rising wedge to break towards upside up here, eventually, right? So this is the move that we need to do. To actually break this downtrend towards downside right now. We don't care about Elio waves here. Nobody cares about Elio waves. Chep is to the moon. Hey, can you please check Ari? Nah. Good morning, XR Pledge. How you doing? Yo, grain is obviously it's to the moon. Carano. Gort, why would we want to watch Ivan on Tech? Like, he is the second best after me. He is the second best guy to follow on YouTube. I mean, there are other good guys and stuff like that, but he will keep you bullish in the bull market. Let's say that much. He will keep you bullish in the bull market. The same thing with Coinsky. He will keep you bullish in the bull market, and you won't sell your backs. You know, if you watch some other people, you might get, you know, because they're not very educated. They don't know how to draw lines. They don't know how to analyze the stuff. They might be a little bit fearful or not, right? And you might sell your bags because they post FUD, right? So watch Ivan Attack, like that guy knows. He's been around, you know, since even before 2014. So he's been, you know, 1, 2, 3 bull markets, 3 bear markets. This is, you know, 4th bull bear market is gonna come. And, you know, he has definitely a very good chunk of experience when it comes to bull and bear markets. So do follow me. CK is at least likable. Guys. That's it for today, guys. That's just quick, you know, summary of what's happening right now. Hope that was, you know, helpful. So, you know, we're gonna continue watching the charts as we always do, and you're welcome to join our Telegram chat, TF Fans Club community. We also do altcoin videos to see what's good and what's not. There is more things to talk about, but you know, the show will be way too long. Anyways, guys, thank you for stopping by. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, 9 a.m. 7 p.m. on the dollar. Wait, tomorrow is Saturday. Maybe Saturday as well. Depends on, you know, what's gonna happen, right? Have a nice day, guys. Where's my outro?